There are some truths in life we don't talk about because they're too uncomfortable, because they sting a little too sharply when they hit. But you've got to hear this one. The biggest threat to your future is not failure, and it's not bad luck. It's you playing small. Not failing, not getting it wrong, not crashing and burning, just playing too damn small. It's the silent destroyer, because no one warns you about how dangerous it is to blend in, to shrink, to dial down your intensity so the world doesn't get uncomfortable around you. No one tells you how quietly it steals your potential, how slowly it rearranges your goals into something more reasonable, how you wake up one day and realize you've built a life out of things you never really wanted, for people who never really noticed. It starts subtly. You get praised for being humble, for knowing your limits. You become the easygoing one, the dependable one, never the bold one, never the disruptive one, never the one who turns heads. You learn to tone it down. You learn to wait for permission. And suddenly, you've built an entire identity around being less than what you are. That's what playing small does. It disguises itself as discipline or modesty or patience. But underneath it's fear. Fear wrapped in logic. Fear wrapped in politeness. Fear wrapped in compromise. And nobody's going to stop you. Nobody's going to yank you out of it. Because playing small doesn't look dangerous. It looks polite. But here's the truth you need to hear in your bones. There is a price for playing small. A massive, brutal cost. One that doesn't hit you overnight, but drains you day by day, choice by choice, year by year, until it robs you of the life that could have been. Because while you're busy avoiding risk, someone else is taking the shot you were afraid to attempt. While you stay realistic, someone else is rewriting the rules. While you keep shrinking to make space for others, someone else is expanding into every inch they can claim. And guess what? The world doesn't reward modest potential. It rewards expressed power. It rewards courage, scale, visibility, energy. You don't get paid for what you're capable of. You get paid for what you execute. You don't get respected for your hidden brilliance. You get respected for showing up like you believe you belong. You don't get remembered for your caution. You get remembered for your impact. So yeah, there's a cost, and most people, they never calculate it. You feel it when you're alone, when the room is silent and your own thoughts get loud. It's the slow ache of what if, the quiet panic of wasted days, the subtle shame of knowing deep down, you could be more than this, should be more than this. Let's break it. Let's rip the polite filter off this truth and see it raw. Because until you confront the cost of staying small, you'll keep doing it. You'll keep underplaying your talent. You'll keep watering down your ideas. You'll keep second-guessing your instincts while watching someone less gifted live the life you dream about. You think the world is holding you back? No, brother. It's the fence you built in your mind. It's the constant downsizing of your own vision because maybe it's too much, or maybe they'll think I'm arrogant, or maybe I should wait till I'm more ready. It's the hesitation every time you feel like standing out. The apology in your tone when you talk about your goals. The fake laugh you give when your big ideas get mocked. And make no mistake, this is a habit. A deeply wired, self-protective habit that starts small and gets stronger every time you surrender. Every time you turn the volume down on your own power, you teach your nervous system that safety lives in invisibility. And the more invisible you become, the harder it is to find your way back. But here's the twist. Playing small doesn't keep you safe. It makes you a target. A target for mediocrity, for disappointment, for regret. It attracts situations that match the version of you you're pretending to be, not the one you truly are. It gets you overlooked, underpaid, uninvited, and underestimated, not because people are cruel, but because you taught them to expect less. And eventually life will reflect that training right back to you. You'll look around and realize you built a cage and called it comfort. You'll measure your days not by passion, but by tolerable routines. You'll adapt to small dreams because your big ones felt too risky. And you'll keep telling yourself it's just a phase until the years start slipping by and comfort becomes your prison. So let's cut through it. The real cost of playing small is momentum lost. It's creativity untapped. It's talent unused, conversations avoided, opportunities missed, not because they weren't there, but because you weren't ready to reach beyond what felt safe. And let's be crystal clear, this has nothing to do with being reckless or arrogant or loud for the sake of attention. This is about owning your fullness, showing up like you actually belong in the space you're afraid to enter, talking like your words carry weight, thinking like your ideas are allowed to reshape the room, moving like your future depends on it because it does. The people you admire, they aren't different from you. They just stopped negotiating with fear. They got tired of editing themselves. They got tired of explaining their ambition to small minds. They got tired of watching someone else do what they knew they could. So they made a decision. And here's yours. You're going to get loud, not in volume, but in presence. You're going to take up space, not in ego, but in energy. You're going to show up fully, not perfectly, but completely. Because the cost of playing small is too damn high. It's robbing you of your edge, your clarity, your hunger. It's costing you momentum, visibility, relationships, money. And the longer you play small, the more life gives you what you quietly settled for. But settle for nothing. Not anymore. You want to be free? Then stop hiding. Stop shrinking. Stop apologizing for wanting more. Because the world doesn't need another invisible genius. It needs someone who's willing to step up and be seen. Not someday, not when it's safe, not when it's perfect. Now, there's a moment that comes after the realization. After the adrenaline of that wake-up call fades. It's quieter, heavier. It's where most people retreat, back into what they know. Because truth, when it first lands, is energizing. But acting on it, that's where the resistance begins. It's one thing to know you've been shrinking your potential. It's another to live differently. And here's the problem. We've been conditioned not to disturb the system, not to take up too much space, not to dream too loud. There's an unspoken rule woven into society: stay in your lane, do what's expected, blend. Don't challenge the people around you by growing too fast. Don't threaten the comfort of the group by becoming the exception. But let's call it what it really is. Tribal fear. Legacy wiring from a brain built for safety, not greatness. A survival instinct that punishes visibility and risk, because once upon a time, those things meant death. But this isn't 5,000 years ago. You're not being hunted. The only thing stalking you now is irrelevance. If you want to rise, to expand into the size you were born to be, you're going to have to confront that wiring directly. You're going to have to teach your nervous system that discomfort is not danger, that growth feels like threat, but it's actually freedom announcing itself. You'll feel resistance from yourself and from the people around you. Not because they're cruel, but because your expansion shines a light on their stagnation. When you start changing, it activates their own discomfort. You become a mirror, showing them what they could be, but aren't. They'll downplay your ambition with phrases like, "Don't get ahead of yourself," or "Just be grateful for what you have." That's not wisdom. That's a sedative. It sounds like care, but it's containment. Because people who have played small all their lives don't want to see what courage looks like up close. It stings too much. It reminds them of the chances they never took. So they'll try to shrink you not with cruelty, but with suggestion, with passive energy, with subtle doubt. And it works. If you let it, that's why owning your power is lonely at first. You'll lose some people. You'll confuse others. Some won't recognize the new version of you. That's okay. You weren't meant to fit back into places you've outgrown. The cost of playing small isn't just wasted potential. It's becoming a stranger to yourself. So watered down by others' expectations that you don't recognize your own reflection. It's betraying your own brilliance because you were scared it would make people uncomfortable. And in doing so, making yourself uncomfortable instead. Let that sink in. How many years have you tiptoed around your greatness just to keep people comfortable, only to end up uncomfortable in your own skin? Every time you said yes to something you didn't want. Every time you smiled through something that insulted your intelligence. Every time you stayed silent when your truth was burning your throat. That was a vote for smallness, and votes add up. They create a life that looks fine on the surface but feels hollow on the inside. A life full of polite achievements, safe decisions, muted dreams. But here's the kicker deep down you always knew. You knew you weren't built for a life of reasonable. You knew the visions in your head weren't fantasies. They were previews of what's possible. You knew you had something inside you that couldn't be measured by resumes or timelines or approval ratings. But knowing isn't enough. Knowing changes nothing unless it becomes motion. You can't think your way into expansion. You have to act your way into it. And that means doing what most people won't. Standing taller when you feel small, speaking louder when you feel shaky, and daring to say, yes, I'm meant for more, even if no one claps, especially then. The moment you stop negotiating with your own potential, you'll feel it. That internal click. A quiet confidence that doesn't need applause. A surge of direction that doesn't need permission. Not arrogance alignment. Not delusion recognition. That's where momentum begins, not with a big win, not with viral success or overnight results, but with a single shift in posture, a refusal to keep playing the part of someone you never really were. Because the truth is, you've been carrying power this whole time. It was never gone. Just buried under layers of doubt, social training, and years of emotional deflection. But once you reach the point where shrinking hurts more than growing, you stop apologizing. You stop rehearsing failure. You stop waiting to feel ready. You just move, not recklessly, but deliberately. Not to prove anything, but to become who you were always meant to be. And from the outside, it'll look like confidence. But you'll know what it really is. Finally giving yourself permission to live at full volume. And if people don't understand that, let them adjust. Because the cost of playing small was never just about you. It's the people who could have been helped by your ideas. The opportunities missed by your silence. The breakthroughs that never happened because you were busy trying not to upset the room. You don't owe the world comfort. You owe it your fire. So feed it